You're listening to the Reds Podcast.
This is episode number 100. We've made it. We've got some big changes in store for Red Podcast, and that's what we're going to talk about coming up.
This is the Red Podcast. Real entrepreneur development. Make more money, work less, and live a life of freedom. No BS advice that really works. Here's your hosts, David Hooper and Laurel Staples.
We're back.
We are back.
Literally. Took a few days off to go to the mountains.
It was pretty awesome.
That's good.
I didn't want to come back, but you told me I had to come back.
We didn't take computers. I took an iPad, though, to read on.
Yeah, we can't do Red Podcasts from an iPad, though.
Didn't take the Red Room with us. But we're back, ready for an upcoming year. We've got some changes to Red Podcast that we're going to talk about. Are you back from vacation? I mean, mentally?
No, I try to hang out in the mountains for a couple more days mentally, and then I kind of get back into it.
That's how it works for me. It usually takes me a day or two to kind of get into that vacation mode. And then a day or two afterwards, once I'm back home, to get back into work mode.
That's not true at all. You bounce back into work mode in like a second, and me, it takes me like 3 days.
That's a great point about taking a vacation. For me anyway, is that it gives me that decompression time. And when I'm done with vacation, I'm really ready to get back. I'm excited about the new year. We've been talking about that. I'm excited about the changes we've got to Red Podcast, which we're going to talk about right now. Red stands for Real Entrepreneur Development. We help you build an audience, sell more products, and make more money. We're business optimizers. We're going to show you how to be more efficient in your marketing and find the hidden money that's sitting right in front of you. We're going to show you how to live life on your terms.
I liked your analogy the other day, David, how you were talking about finding the holes in your business. And I thought it was a good visualization. If you imagine a glass and you're trying to fill it with water, imagining that water is money and you want your glass to be all the way full, and you've got all these holes in your glass and you keep filling it and you keep trying to fill it and it's never going to fill. And I think for us, what we like to do is help you plug those holes up. That's a business optimization. You're not changing the glass. You're not changing what's in the glass. You're just making it an optimal process to fill it up and plug in the holes.
That's what it is. And as business optimizers, we are always tweaking, including tweaking Red Podcast.
True. Something my client said to me the other day, he had redone his website and his sales page and his trial offer for his business. And I said, how do you feel about it? I think it looks really good. And he said, well, I don't know if it's perfect. That was something that really caught my attention, is what is perfect? There is no perfect. You always tweak, you gather data, you tweak again, and that's what we do. That's what we help other people do. And that's part of business optimization. You always are tweaking.
Is that something that came naturally to you?
Tweaking?
Not like a meth kind of tweaking, but...
No, not like a meth tweaking. What do you mean?
Well, for me, I grew up as a musician, and we were always having that slow, gradual improvement. So I've got that in my blood. A lot of people, though, I feel like they don't do that. They expect it to be done. It's done. Set it, forget it, Ron Popeil style, never have to touch it again. And that's not how it works.
Ron Popeil style?
Ron Popeil's the guy on late night television with the rotisserie chicken cooker.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, set it and forget it. That's his line.
Ah.
So set it and forget it. But business is not like that. And the reason it's not like that is because everything around you is changing. You have to change with it.
I feel like a lot of people want it to be like that. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. Oh, you just get it set up and running on its own and just does its own thing. And I've never really seen that happen for anybody ever. I think you do have to constantly tweak and grow and get better.
I'll give you one example that's a pretty good deal, but it's still changing. Have you ever read To Kill a Mockingbird?
I have. I used to think it was called How to Kill a Mockingbird until my mother laughed at me. So it's not a how-to.
Manual.
I like
No.
how-to stuff. It's not. So yes, I have read that book.
So a woman named Harper Lee wrote that book. That's the only book she's ever done. She still makes really good money off of it. Sometimes you hit something that big, you only have to do one thing, and you can live off passive income. But if you think about the book business, how has that changed in the last 50 years?
A lot.
A lot. The movie business, it's changed. So she's got all sorts of ups and downs that she has to work on. Strangely enough, Harper Lee, she was working with somebody who actually took the rights away from her, said she signed it away. Her vision's failing. She's getting old. She had to go back and get the rights to this book from this guy.
Wow.
So things are always changing. You can't just, as Ron Popeil says, set it and forget it.
So you talked about Red, David. So how are we tweaking Red? Let's talk about that.
We had the first 100 episodes. Laurel and I, we make agreements whenever we do anything. And it was a temporary thing. We agreed when we started to finish the year out, which was about 5-6 months.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do this many episodes. We completed them. But as we were going, we found out that Red was not what we thought it was going in. And everything is like that. That's not because we had no idea about it. You just get into it. The inside is always different from the outside. We took feedback from you. That changed as things were going along. And we had different ideas of ways that we could make this system more efficient, make the episodes better, get to the point, get you the information that you want. This is technically episode 100, but we've had some solo special edition episodes. So we've actually had more than 100 episodes. We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about what people want. We've learned about what has worked for us. We've learned about what hasn't worked for us and things that we thought would work for you as a listener that didn't work as well as we thought. After 100 episodes, you get a lot of data. We've got a lot to look at as far as what gets downloaded, what people have enjoyed. We've had feedback on Twitter, feedback via email. So we know a lot more about what people are looking for, and that's what we want to offer you. Our first 100 episodes, they were really foundation focused.
It was really giving you a broad spectrum of topics to consider, just kind of general information to help make your business better.
It was evergreen content. It will work today like it would have worked last week, like it'll work tomorrow or next month. It's basic evergreen content. How to be a better speaker, that stuff's not going to change. How to be a better interviewer, how to give a good interview, how to run conferences. Go to redpodcast.com and look at the first 100 episodes to see what we're talking about. Evergreen content that you can build a business on. It will be as good tomorrow as it is today.
And speaking of longevity, that's really what we built this on from the beginning, is helping entrepreneurs like you be in business in the long term. And that's something that the first 100 episodes will help you do, is foundational elements that will help you get set up to do whatever you're doing for the long haul, not have to go back and get a job, not have to take out a loan, not have to do anything like that, to make this happen, make the money that you want, and do it for the rest of your life. So that's something that's really important to us, and that those first 100 episodes really represent.
One of the key concepts that we absolutely believe in is that when other people zig, you zag. Don't have to follow the crowd. We came into the podcast space where everybody was doing these interview shows. Some of them as many as 7 days a week.
That's a lot of days to do an interview.
A lot of days. That's a lot of interviews, a lot of people to look up, a lot of scheduling. We decided to go the opposite route by not having any interviews. But now that we're done with these first 100 episodes, we're going to bring in limited interviews. So you will see that in the upcoming sessions. We've also had more solo episodes. Well, you haven't had one. I've had more solo episodes. Laurel's been busy with other projects. That's what really separates real entrepreneur development, Red Podcast, from a lot of other podcasts, is because we're not just podcast hosts. We don't just tell you what to do, tell you how to make money. We're running businesses beyond Red, beyond our training businesses. And you've been really busy over the last couple months, so I had to kind of pick up the slack.
We talked about how much effort it takes to schedule interviews, but it also takes effort to outline these shows and get up here and record them and all that good stuff. So you have been doing some amazing solo podcast episodes that if you haven't checked out, those are all available on redpodcast.com. Are they marked on there? Which ones are solo and which aren't?
They are. If you go to redpodcast.com, we have the David and Laurel episodes. We have David solo. Coming up, we're going to have David and guest host episodes, maybe even have some Laurel and guest host episodes, as well as interviews. So we're going to have 4 different podcast formats now.
So right now we've decided that Monday and Wednesday are going to be me and you, David, And then Fridays are going to be a different type of show, maybe an interview, guest host, all kinds of good stuff.
I've got a blog. It's at 23hours.com. And one of the most popular features that I've had running here for a while, it's called Marketing Lessons. And this is where I take a business, take an industry, and I break down the marketing lessons. We're going to have some of those coming up in podcast format.
It's like marketing lessons from a blank. What are some of the blanks? What are some of the things you take marketing lessons from?
From a Las Vegas strip club.
There it is. You can learn how to grow your business from a Las Vegas strip club.
You absolutely can. I've got marketing lessons from a Las Vegas casino. I've got marketing lessons from a direct mail company. I've got tons of them. I've got dozens of them. Got marketing lessons from infomercials, got marketing lessons from musicians, got marketing lessons from Taylor Swift. If you're a Tay-Tay fan.
And a chocolate company, too.
Chocolate company is on there. Yeah, we've got all sorts of stuff. Got marketing lessons from a hipster church.
Well, something for everybody in there.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned to Red Podcast. You can also check them out online. Got some different features there, 23hours.com. And there's a story behind that. This actually happened during our recent vacation. My site was formerly called Big Bold Impact because that's what I do, help you to have impact, make impact with your business, with your words, with your products. But Laurel changed all that.
I don't know if I changed it. It was your idea.
Well, part of the time we took off, we spent to reevaluate businesses, change them, clarify where we wanted to go, clarify the message to see if we could do it in a better way. Again, this being business optimizers, this is how we think. As you may know, I've been in the music business for some time, and I was having a conversation with Tom Johnston from the Doobie Brothers. He said, "You're not paying me for the 1 hour I'm on stage. You're paying me for the 23 hours that it takes to get there." Made note of that, grabbed the domain name, because I said, that would be a great book. That explains exactly what I do, is I help you do the work that it takes for you to get on stage, for you to speak, for you to do your podcast, do your radio show, do a performance. It didn't become a book, but it did become the blog, because I felt like that signified what I was doing a whole lot better than the other name, Big Bold Impact.
How do you feel like 23 hours is going to be different than Big Bold Impact? Are you going to be talking about the same kind of things like we're talking about on Red Podcast? Or are you going in a different direction with that?
It's very similar. And I'm glad you brought that question, because I think that's one of the things that we do here on Red Podcast. We help you craft a message. We help you make sure the title of your blog, the title of your book, the title of your product, what you're doing is what you say that you're doing. We don't recommend necessarily changing the name of a blog or a book after you've done it. It's always good if you can do it at first. But this really exemplified what I was doing, and I think having it right there at the forefront instead of just the general Big Bold Impact, having it there, letting me know every time I get up on the site, it's the 23 hours that it takes to get you to that 1 hour on stage where you're presenting, to the radio show, to the podcast, whatever it is that you're doing. That's a great reminder to me, and I think it's going to help make that message more clear.
So if you're listening today and you haven't checked out David's blog before at Big Bold Impact, now it has moved to 23hours.com. If you like this show, you will definitely like his blog. Let's talk about what to expect for Red as we wrap up this show today.
Bottom line, what we do, we help you to get more with less. We're talking about stretching one marketing dollar, making it 10 marketing dollars, helping you get more done with less time, taking your resources and expanding them, stretching them as much as you can through various techniques that we're going to talk about.
Also, how to execute effectively. I think the biggest difference between a wannabe entrepreneur and an entrepreneur is entrepreneurs execute. That is the only way to make money, the only way to grow a business, and the only way to live life on your terms if you start to execute things. And that's going to be part of our focus going forward, is really giving you the ideas, the insights, and the information that you need, and also how to execute it, because that is where the rubber meets the road. So that means product creation, launching products, launching services, daily operations, how to get all of those in check so you can have your best year ever.
Some people are afraid to execute. Coming from a musician background, I absolutely saw that, because when you're a musician, you want to play the song perfectly by the time you get it on stage. But you know what changed that for me was when I started working with comics. These guys have to get on stage. They have to test their material. Sometimes they bomb, but they keep tweaking it, keep optimizing it. What we're talking about here, what we do as business optimizers, they make it better, and that's when things really blow up.
As I said to my client, there is no perfect. You just have to get out there. You have to start it. You have to execute. You have to do it, and you have to tweak it along the way. You will never arrive at perfect, probably ever, but you'll do the best you can and keep going.
Well, speaking of execution, that's really where you shine, Laurel. This is why we work so well together. Laurel is an execution specialist.
Oh, I like that title, David.
You're an executioner.
I'm an executioner. I'm really great with time management, helping people set goals and then break them down into smaller executable tasks and get those tasks done. That to me is what builds a business, what keeps it going, what keeps people on track and making the big money.
And I balance that out with big picture marketing strategies. If you're looking for somebody to airlift you from where you are so you can see the entire forest, not just the tree ahead of you, that's what I do. I help you with small adjustments that lead to big results. And we talked about music and personality marketing, certainly that, bringing your personality out to the forefront. If you're interested in the personality-driven business, between the two of us, you've got me on the big picture stuff, Laurel's getting into the minutia to help you actually execute, actually get it done. Because as she said, perfect is the enemy of good. We're a bang-up team, man.
Sounds awesome. And these are just a few of the things to come with Red Podcast. As we go along, we will be tweaking. So expect that to come. But we've got a couple cool things coming out this year that we will be announcing soon. So stay tuned, keep listening, and spread the word.
If you've got questions or comments, visit us online at redpodcast.com. The first 100 episodes, the foundation episodes, are there. You can just go to redpodcast.com/1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whichever number, if you want to see all of them, or just go to redpodcast.com, pick the subject that you want to know more about. We've got the information for you there. Are you listening on iTunes? If so, we'd appreciate a review. That will help us to come up more frequently in the iTunes search engines. More people will find us, help us to build the real entrepreneur development community. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of the Red Podcast.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, Real Entrepreneur Development. Subscribe today using iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.